So this video will be the next installment from Arabian Nights, which is Sinbad meets a big bird. Sinbad was content to stay at home for some time, but at last he became restless and made up his mind to go on another voyage. He filled his ship full of goods and set sail. One day he and his sailors reached an island where they thought it would be pleasant to land, and where they would be able to find some fresh water and to wander about for a little while. Sinbad walked about for a time, then finding a shady spot he lay down to rest, but he fell sound asleep and did not waken up until many hours afterwards. To his horror, when he woke up, he found that the ship had sailed away without him, and that he was left alone on a desert island. Sinbad blamed himself for his folly in falling asleep, but this did not help to put matters right. So he climbed a high tree so that he could get a good view of the island. Far away in the distance he could see something white. Sinbad wondered what it was. He came down the tree and hurried towards it to examine it. It was very large and smooth and rounded like a dome. Sinbad was still wondering what it was when suddenly the sun grew dark. He looked up into the sky and saw a huge bird, bigger than he had ever dreamed a bird could be. It must be that wonderful bird called a roc, thought Sinbad, and this huge white thing must be its egg. Suddenly he thought of a plan to help him to escape from the island. He crept to the side of the egg and waited there till the huge bird flew down to sit on it. He then tied himself firmly to one of the bird's strong legs and waited for her to fly again. All night long the roc sat on the huge egg, but in the morning she flew away, carrying Sinbad with her. They whizzed through the air at such a pace and flew to such dizzy heights that Sinbad lost his senses and fell into a faint. Some time later, when he came to himself, he found that he was safely on the ground, still tied to the roc's leg. He lost no time in setting himself free, crawled out from under the great bird and hid behind a rock. Meantime the bird seized a huge serpent in her beak and flew away with it. Sinbad could tell where he was, all around mountains which seemed to reach almost to the sky. But suddenly he forgot his troubles, for when he looked on the ground he saw that it was covered with many big shining diamonds. But his joy soon changed to fear when he saw that the place was filled with serpents, so large that they could easily have swallowed an elephant. "I would have been safer if I had stayed on the desert island," sighed Sinbad. At length he found a cave that he could block up with a stone and hid there for the rest of the day. That night he could get little sleep for the hissing of the serpents outside. As soon as it was light the hissing stopped and Sinbad peeped out of the cave. The serpents had gone away, so Sinbad went out and walked for a little among the diamonds that lay all around him. Suddenly he was startled by something heavy falling near him. To his surprise he saw that it was a large piece of raw meat. Several more pieces followed, and as they fell heavily to the ground, some of the diamonds stuck firmly to the meat. Sinbad suddenly realized what it meant. The men of the mountains had thrown the meat down into the valley, hoping it would be brought back by the eagles to feed their young ones. When they were fed, the diamonds could be taken from their nests. Sinbad thought that he could see a way of escaping from the valley. So first of all he filled a large bag with diamonds, then he tied a large piece of meat firmly to his back, and waited for a big bird to come and carry him off. He had not long to wait. A huge bird swooped down, picked up the meat, and carried it off to her nest high up at the top of the mountain. Sinbad had no sooner landed in the nest than a man came to drive away the bird and find some diamonds. He was greatly surprised to find Sinbad in the nest and listened to his story with great interest. Sinbad was taken from the nest, and the men of the mountain crowded around him while he told his strange adventures and showed them his bag of wonderful diamonds. He gave them a share of his riches, and they took him home and gave him food and wine. After resting for some time they helped him on his way, and at last he reached a port where he could sail for home. After a few weeks he arrived safely in his own land with enough diamonds to keep him in comfort for the rest of his life. So that is the end of the next installment of Arabian Nights.